For dinner tonight, I'm making a mushroom risotto. No fuss, super easy to make, so I'm going to show you how simple it is. So for the first step, I added 1 diced onion, 3 garlic cloves in olive oil. Then I've just added 500 grams of mushrooms, a cup of peas, 2 tablespoons of dried sage, the coconut fat, which you find at the top of a coconut can. I'll mix this in, and that acts as though the sort of creaminess that you get in a normal risotto. 1 litre of veg stock, 350 grams of risotto rice. This is arborio. Boil, reduce to a simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes with the lid on, and make sure to stir every 10 minutes. And there it is, all finished. You can see it's nice and creamy, totally plant-based, and super easy to make. So I'm going to show you how I make the best free-from banana bread. It's gluten-free, vegan. For the first stage, I've got 5 ripe bananas. They're 4 to a mixing bowl. I'm just going to mash with a fork. I've got 150 grams of gluten-free self-raising flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 100 ml of plant-based milk. I'm using unsweetened almond. And now we're simply just going to mix these together with a whisk. Finally, I like to add some dairy-free chocolate, 150 grams of chocolate here I'm going to add. Next, I've just lined a small bread baking tin with baking paper. Just pour in the mix. I've got my 2 sliced bits of banana that I'm going to place on top. The last bit of chocolate. Preheated oven, which is at 200 degrees, about 35 to 40 minutes. And that's it done. I'm just going to remove it from the tin, allow it to rest for about 30 minutes, and then... How to make these gluten-free pizza bases. Mix 225 grams of chickpea flour, 300 ml of water and a pinch of salt. Add half the mix to a hot pan with oil and fry on either side for 2 minutes. Now you've got your pizza base, just add whatever toppings you want, chuck it in the oven for 15 minutes to 200 degrees and slice it up. Let's make these 3-ingredient buckwheat crepes. They're gluten-free and vegan, so tasty. Add buckwheat flour, milk of choice, maple syrup, give it a mix, allow it to sit for 5 minutes until this consistency. Heat your crepe pan with coconut oil, make sure it's covered. Pour in the mix, fry on either side for a couple of minutes, make sure to be careful when turning it, and that's it, done. So easy, ready for topping with whatever you want. Make sure you give these a try, tag a friend that would love them too, and hit that follow button for more recipes. How to make this incredibly easy 10-minute peanut butter curry. To a pot, add olive oil, red onion, crushed garlic, paprika, coriander, cayenne pepper, chili flakes, and fry together for a couple minutes. Now add tinned chickpeas, peanut butter, stock powder or cube, tomato puree, juice of lime, canned coconut milk. Stir and simmer on a high heat for about 7 to 8 minutes until it thickens. Finally, take off the heat, add a handful of spinach, and stir until it wilts. And that's it, done. Make sure you give this recipe a try and tag a friend that loves peanut butter.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things: cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudel, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
Just making really simple pasta. It's great for when you're struggling big time with what you've got in the cupboards. I've literally got pasta, frozen veg and jarred pesto. So let me show you what we can do with it. Firstly, boil your pasta. A couple minutes before the end, add in your frozen veg, give it a stir and boil for a few more minutes. Then chuck your pasta at the wall to make sure it sticks. Clearly doesn't. Then quickly drain it. Stir through a few teaspoons of pesto, homemade or jarred is good. And that's it. That's it, done. Now we're just going to tuck in. Look how good that is. Watch me show you how to make these delicious, spicy butternut squash cubes. Simply chuck your chopped butternut squash into a baking dish, olive oil, salt and pepper, and then you can add any herbs or spices that you want. So I'm using basil, smoked paprika, and then simply just give it a shake and shove it in the oven for 40 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Simply take them out of the oven, they smell and look incredible, and then just serve however you want. I've gone for a side salad, and that's it. Make sure you hit that plus button for more healthy, simple recipes. How to make this veggie ramen in 10 minutes. To a pot, add oil, red onion, garlic, ginger, and simmer for a few minutes. Now add your veg of choice, veg stock, juice of lime, tamari, rice noodles. Stir and simmer for 5 minutes, and then it's ready to serve. All written recipes on the blog.
You're gonna need these stuffed potato balls for the fall because they're the ultimate comfort food. They're also known as rellenos de papa, and my mom used to make them all the time, and in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm gonna show you how I make them with a plant-based twist. First, make your spice mix, then dice 2 carrots and a quarter of a yellow onion, and you can saute that with some garlic and olive oil. Now, what we're making is picadillo, and usually it's made with red meat, but we're gonna use lentils instead. I love lentils because they kind of have like a meaty texture to them. You're also gonna add tomato paste, sofrito, which is optional but highly recommended, and then the spice mix with some cilantro and water. Now moving on to the potato mixture, you're going to take some boiled potatoes, add some yogurt, garlic powder, salt, pepper, milk, and cornstarch so that it makes it bind a little better. Now for some tips for forming the balls, always use wet hands so the potato mixture isn't too sticky. Then you can go ahead and roll it in some panko breadcrumbs for ultimate crispiness. Now we're going to fry them in a high smoke point neutral oil. I used avocado oil, or you can bake them. Plate them, serve with some avocado crema, and dive in.
How to make this easy, gluten-free and vegan apple crumble. Peel and chop your apples, add to a pot along with maple syrup, cinnamon, shake and put the lid. To a bowl, oat flour, oats, vegan butter, maple syrup, cinnamon and mix. Apples to a baking dish, blueberries, oat crumble. Bake at 200 for 20 minutes. Enjoy. How to make this healthy veggie Thai green curry in 20 minutes. Keep watching for the recipe. Heat a wok with 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and 2 tablespoons of tamari or soy sauce. Head of 1 broccoli, green pepper, 1 courgette, 150 grams of sugar snaps or beans. Give it a mix and fry it for a couple minutes. Meanwhile, in a blender we're going to make the sauce. So 3 garlic cloves, 1 red onion roughly chopped, thumb size of fresh ginger, 2 lemongrass stalks roughly chopped, 1 green pepper, zest and juice of 1 lime, handful of fresh coriander, handful of basil, teaspoon of chili flakes, teaspoon of ground coriander, half a teaspoon of paprika, 1 can of coconut milk. Blend it up. Add the sauce to the veg, half a cup of warm water. Give it a stir and simmer for 10 to 15 minutes. As an optional added protein, I'm going to add tofu, but you could add prawns or chicken to this. It's done. Super easy, ready in 20 minutes. Don't forget to give me a follow for
Hey, we're gonna make vegan honey barbecue wings. So easy to make. Let's go. We need a medium cauliflower, wash and cut into pieces, 3/4 of a cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, a teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of salt, and some pepper. Mix the dry ingredients and then add a cup of non-dairy milk and mix until smooth. Coat the cauliflower pieces with butter on both sides. Give it a shake and then coat it with panko breadcrumbs. We want crunchy breadcrumbs. Give it a little shake there too, and it's gonna look like this. Bake them for 25 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Into a small bowl, add some barbecue sauce, and I'm replacing honey with agave syrup. If you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend it. It tastes really good. Coat all your pieces with barbecue sauce. Make sure to give it a little shake. You don't want way too much sauce so they don't stick. And put them in the oven for 20 more minutes. And that's it. Our honey barbecue wings are ready. I'm gonna try them with a vegan ranch dressing that I made. If you guys want the recipe, let me know in the comments. And now let's try it. Holy cow!